Okay, so this is the second video tutorial for the Baguette ordering system, and the last thing we stopped at is to basically get these buttons functional. So when we click on admin, it goes to the admin page, and when we click on the user, it goes to the user page. So we've created both the administration and the user page, but of course we haven't yet put in anything in terms of like the text field for the username and password. So today we're going to be working on the authentication process. Remember how the scenario is supposed to be. According to the scenario, we're supposed to create this Baguette ordering service that allows customers to choose the fillings they want and to choose the salad items they want. So we're going to have those pages for them to see those options, and also to select the type of baguette sizes they would like, and also the type of baguette bread. So there's a lot of things, selecting the baguette sizes, the baguette bread, the fillings, and the salad. And going back to what we have so far, we are going to be working on the admin.html page. So make sure you are on this admin_ page. And when we finish with the administrator page, we're going to do the exact same thing for the user page to get the authentication done. So the first thing we want to do is, after the header tag, we are going to be opening a tag here. And this tag is going to be for the body. Actually, we don't need to open a tag because we have the body right here. So I'm going to teach you some of the settings that you can do in HTML to set the body. So we're going to start by setting the body text. So if we have a text in the background, which I'm not really thinking we're going to need, but if you wanted to, if you had like a background text that you wanted to align on your body, something that you wanted to put on the body of this HTML, but it's not going to work for us because we already have this background picture and we have our text already included. But if you did wanted to put a text and you wanted to align it, when you do style, you say equal to put your quotation marks. You can do text, and of course you write align, and then you can basically align it to the center. So that also works if you wanted to align. But for now, we're just going to go into the whole, instead of doing any text and alignment. We don't need to do text and alignment, so I'll just take it out. What we're doing in terms of the style is just to put like a background color. So I'm going to go with a background color for the body right here, even though it doesn't show, but if you wanted to put a background color, just to let you know. So you're going to write background, and then it already appears for you, background color, and you can specify the background color. I like to use black for this background, so I'm just going to use black for my background color. And even if you start typing in the color, it does appear, so you can just click it. And that's pretty much it for the body, what we're going to do, because we already have a background picture. The next thing I want to do is to create the section. And by the way, when we're talking about the body of the admin page, I'm not referring to this body. So I made a mistake in the beginning. I wasn't talking about this background. I'm talking about this one right here. And it already has the background picture, like I said, so there would be no need for me to align a text, but I just put the background color anyways. There's no need for that. What we're going to do is to put the text boxes so that we can get the user to enter the username and password, and then a button to verify if those data values are correct or authentic and authentified. And if it is authentified, of course, the administrator has the access to be able to view sales records and view what you're given in the scenario, which is for them to find information about the total number of size of bread types that were bought and the filling. So all of the statistics, they would have that information to be able to see it. So that's something that would be available for them. So we'll talk more about task 2 and task 3. So right now we're just going to do the authentication part. So the next thing we're going to do is, inside of our body tag, we're going to be creating the paragraph tag. And in the paragraph tag, we're going to be putting those text boxes. So we call that the input in HTML. So we're going to open that up as well inside of our paragraph tag. And we're going to start by saying inputs. And then, of course, the type, we want to put in a box that is allowing text because they're going to enter username. So type is equal to text. So that's it. For password, we're going to put the type as password because they're entering password. And then, of course, we move on to the style. So the style would be equal to, like, this is where you can position the text box, and you can determine to make it flexible or fixed. So we're going to make it relative, the position, because we're going to be adjusting it placing it on the right position so it's exactly on this side right here where my mouse is moving. So we're going to go with style. This is how you position things. You're going to say position, starting with the first one. I'm going to make the position relative. And then, of course, a semicolon. And then I'm going to go left alignment. So I'm just going to give a space. This is how we're creating the text box. So on the left side, I'm going to go 120 pixels. We can adjust this. This is, you can do by pixels, by percentage. I just prefer to do pixelation. So that's like putting it on the left coordinates, which would say more on the x negative side, well, x side, and then top for like y. So we're going left and top in terms of x and y. So here for the top, I'm going to do 185 pixels. And then I'm also going to be putting a background color for the text box if you want to do that. So I'm going to go with background color of yellow. So that's also another thing. So you can put that and then background. If you don't want to do background color, you don't have to. As soon as you put background, it already appears. I'm going to go with yellow. Or you can go any other color. Again, it's better if you type in the color and it just appears just selected immediately so that, yeah, it's recognizable by the system. And then we go with the width. So how wide do you want this box to be? And I'm going to go with like 200 pixels of size. And then, of course, we put the semicolon after every single setting. And now I'm going to go with the whole height. So like the height of the box, we don't want it too high, the text box. So I'm just going to go with the height like 40 pixels, not too high. The larger the pixel number, of course, that means it will affect the size of your text box. And then here we can also set the font size, like when the user types something in, what would be the size of the fonts that the user is going to be typing. So I'm going to go with 14 pt. So that's like the size, you would say. So I'm going with 14. The more, again, you increase the size, the bigger it is. And I'll put my semicolon, and that's pretty much it. So we have to give a name to this setting, like a name to it. We have to give a name to our input so that when we create that functionality to be able to take like what the user is typing in the text box and then compare it and see if it's authentified to grant access, we need to use like a name, which is like a variable name. So here we're going to call this variable name ID. Well, ID would be like the keyword for the variable name, and it's going to be equal to, let's give it the variable name of username so that we can collect the username, and of course then close your input tag. So remember, you open it up, now you're closing it. So you're going to do the same thing for password, but only for password there's going to be a slight difference, of course, which the type is not text. So next one is to put in password. Here I think you could also, if you want, to put in a comment, but I think I'll just skip that for now. So if you want to add something extra like comment, you could. Going back to the page, admin page. So here we're going to do the password part. So the password, I will open again another tag, and that's going to be my paragraph tag. And then of course open again, and it's going to be input type. This time the type is going to be password because we don't want to show it. We want to have that masking feature, and to do so we have to put in a type as password. Then the style, of course, will be equal to the positioning, starting with the position. And I'm going to make the position relative for now without being fixed yet so that we can adjust the text box to fit in front of the text. So relative, and we're going to go left 120 and then perhaps top 280. So kind of going further down. So we're going to go further up, sorry, not down. So we're going to go left, and then here I'm going to set it to 120 pixels, not 129. And then, of course, don't forget the semicolon. And then, of course, the top, we're going to set it to 280 pixels. And then we are going to, for sure, readjust it if it doesn't like really fit well. And then the background color, I will go with the same background color that I went with. So background. And once you see it appear, you can select it. I'll go with yellow again. And I'll just take it closer, and now we're going to specify the width and height. So you can just actually copy everything because everything's going to kind of be the same except, everything's going to be the same except the ID that will change. Obviously, the ID now is going to be for password. So from here, you can pretty much just copy it and paste it all the way. And here I'm just going to change only the ID that now becomes password. Okay, so that's what we're going to use like for the variable name. And then we need to put in our button. But if you want to try to run this, then just click the run button and go to admin again. And it's going to open for you the admin page. And then you could see how this looks like. Okay, so I think I just open it. So there it is. Okay, things are not looking exactly how we want it to be. And again, the text boxes are quite flexible, but also most importantly, they're not placed where we want them to be placed. So what I'm going to do is actually zoom out here. The text boxes, if you zoom on 100%, which would affect your buttons in the home screen, again, that's just because the buttons, the screen itself, like the background is flexible. You can change that, by the way, what I was saying, for the background, because you have style here, and you have the background attachment is fixed and not repeated. So just make sure you've put everything fixed so that it stays and it doesn't like readjust. So like these buttons, you can adjust them to 100%. This is because I'm adjusting my browser view. But if you want to like adjust the positions of these buttons, you just have to move them down. So they're buttons right here. You just have to adjust the left and top positions so they can come further down. And yeah, and that's pretty much what you can do. But going back to our admin page, again, if I run it and I click on admin, I go back to the admin, we have a problem here where this text box is coming on the username. So you want to shift it more towards the right side mostly, I think, and this one definitely you want to shift it back here. So let's do a little trial and error. So we'll go to the left side. I'll make it like 250 so I can see if that shifts all the way to this side, and run it again so we can see the changes. Go to admin. Again, if you want to readjust this according to 100%, you can definitely do it. So you just have to go back. Okay, this is adjusting nicely. I think I need to move it further. And also one good thing would be if I actually enlarge this, then I would be able to like move it further. So I'm going to move it to like 350 just to see the significant difference. So let's run it again. And admin again. So clicking on admin. Okay, it's moving, but moving really slowly. So I'm going to go with like, I think I'll go with, let's try a 430. And the top, I think I prefer, let me just run it because I think I might prefer taking it like way up or down. So you kind of have to just adjust the text boxes until you get them to the right places. So that's kind of getting perfect, but if I can now move it closer back, so maybe 430 was a lot, so maybe 410 or something. And then the top, I would go up further, so I prefer going at about, perhaps we can go like top in terms of the X. I will try going higher just to see. So 250 pixels, but I'm pretty sure that's going to take my text box lower, so we'll see. And then we can readjust it. So I'm clicking it again. Yeah, so that was why I said it's going to take my text box lower. So I'm going to go at the before saying that we had the measurement was 185, and here I took it to 410. So I'm actually going to go at 175 just to see that it fits perfectly in front of the yes, that's perfect, in front of the username. So now we just have to adjust this one. This one, I feel what we're going to do here is definitely move it up. So I'm going to go like a 200 instead of a 280. And I think what I could do here is also go like at a 410 or a 420. So let's try that now. Okay, click admin. And again, you can readjust these. It's just because so there's almost perfect, but I think now we need to bring it down. So maybe at a 250, or not 250, maybe at a 210. And this, I would take it further to 410. So it's like aligned perfectly horizontally wise. So run it again. Click on admin. Okay, so that's pretty good. So we've adjusted, and you can see the background color is yellow. So we've successfully adjusted the paragraph tags, the input text boxes, sorry, which are placed on paragraphs. That's the reason why I use the P tag, placing them on paragraphs just to create that spacing for them, and then putting those inputs types. So now we're going to do the same thing for the button. We're going to be creating a button tag. So I'm going to open up and write button. And of course, the type is equal to button. And the style is going to be just specifying the width of the button. And again, just specifying the height, the positioning. So I'll start with you could do the same thing we just did now. So this is just the type is a button. So just like password, and then style is equal to the position, and the position will be relative. And then, of course, we are going to now put in the left. We're going to start with the left positioning. So the button on the left is going to be 50 pixels. So that's like the coordinates. And then the top, we can go like further down because we want, maybe I'm going to go at 280 or maybe 300. Just not too further down. So I don't want to go too further down because we went already at 210 here. So perhaps I can go at 240. Let's try that, or 250. So 250 pixels. And then of course, now I'm going to do a color of the text that I'm going to write in the button. I'm going to make the color blue. You can select the colors right here, semicolon, and then I'll do a font size of the text that I'm going to put in. So font size, you have to say size like this. And the font size I'm going to be doing is, well, the 25, I'm going to use 25 pixels. And then I'll do like a font family. So the style, you can also specify like the type of writing. So you can search this online. So the font family, I'm going to go with a Courier. And then the background color for my button, I'm going to go with like a green background color. So once you start typing it out, you can just get it immediately. So I'm going to use green. And then we have to put the function of the button. One more thing. We still have to do the width of the button. So the width of the button, I'm going to go with like a 200 pixel. And then the height of the button, I'm going to go with like, 40 pixels. And then I am including this on-click. You notice that I put in an on-click function. And the reason is because you want it, so the text that I'm going to be putting in here, or not the text, sorry, the function. This on-click is the keyword for the function we're going to be creating in our JavaScript page, which is going to be called script. Script, we already have, I think, a script over here. Yeah, so this page, which I'm going to be putting in the code so that it can take the username and password and check if it is valid to allow the administrator access to the right page. So as the user. So that's the function that we're going to be creating. So we have to use the same name. So I'm just going to call it check admin like that. So that's the function that we're going to create inside of our JavaScript so that we can authenticate user admin ID and password. And yeah, and so that's what we're doing here. That's the on-click function. And then the name of the text that's going to be on the button is just called login. So that's going to appear on the button. And the last thing we want to do is to create a hidden paragraph that will just tell the user if they're the administrator in this case, if they're granted access or not. So that's what we're going to do. So if they are granted access, it's going to say access is granted. And if not, it's going to say, oh, access is not granted, or authentication is invalid. So that's what we're going to do. And to do so, we're going to hit enter from here and go to the next line. And I'm going to create like a hidden paragraph. So open up your P tag, and we have to give this paragraph an ID because that's where we're going to be using that ID, which is the variable name, to be able to set the text that says either they have access granted or access not granted. And then I'll put the style again, the same thing kind of what we did before. So again, I'll open quotation marks, and then position is relative. Okay, so opening quotation marks, closing the quotation marks. So position is relative, and Don't forget to close your tags. So that could be, again, very important when you're putting in your tags here. So close the tags, that's really essential. So style, don't forget to put an equal sign, which I just forgot to do. That was why it was all white. So the position is relative. That's the first thing I'm setting. And the left coordinates or left alignment, I'm going to go at 50 pixels. And then the top alignment, I'm going to go at 370 pixels. And then, of course, the color of the text I'm going to be putting in there, I'm going to go with a blue color. And then the font size that I'm going to put in the text will be a font size of 30 pixels, like the text that will show if this administrator is granted access or not. So it's going to be 30 pixels, and then I'll put my semicolon right there. And that's pretty much it. So that's all for this kind of paragraph that's not going to show unless to show whether the administrator gets access or not, depending on what they enter. So again, as you see, I put an ID, which is the variable name, and that's going to be the one we'll use, result. And then I put the style, the positioning, I put a left alignment at 50 pixels, the top at 370 pixels, the color is blue, and obviously I put the font as well. Don't forget to put a semicolon here just because this is a semicolon, so just be careful with that. So semicolons are very important, so make sure you have them because they do, like after you've done a certain setting, just after the next setting, you have to separate with semicolons. So here I think that was the only thing that I didn't put a semicolon properly in, so which I just fixed. And then now we have to link this page, this HTML page, with the script that we are going to be creating. So we're going to write script, and then we're going to say the type of the script. We have to put the name of the script. Obviously, the type is JavaScript script. I prefer to type this in. So I'm going to do text. The type is text/JavaScript. And then we're going to close this quotation mark, and then the source, we need to link this page to the JavaScript that actually takes the username and password to check if it's authentic or not. So the name of the page that we're going to be linking the JavaScript to this page is called script, which I showed you before. That's this empty page, which will have the code that takes the username and password from here to validate. So if we run this at this point,